I'd wager you don't know the name Zack Ward. He's actually been a character actor for some time, but he has a kind of very distinct look. But he's never really been the kind of the star of a kind of like TV show or movie, but you have seen him around in quite a lot of things. I pretty much guarantee it, at least if you're a genre fan. And this is actually his feature film directorial debut. We are talking about the 2016 horror movie Restoration, which he also co-wrote and actually does star in as well in a kind of supporting role. Now the story here basically focuses in on a couple as they move into a kind of a new home, and they kind of want to kind of redo this home, restore it, add under some kind of like features and things like that. And when they're there, basically they kind of meet this kind of oddly sort of like strange couple across the road, and as they kind of work on how strange things start to happen, they kind of have ghostly visions, and it turns out there's kind of a mystery that is involved in this house that involves both kind of ghosts and kind of possessions and all sorts of spooky stuff. So that's pretty much all I would say in regards to the plot for Restoration. So what did I think of this movie? Well, I have to say this is a perfectly serviceable sort of ghostly horror film. I think it's, you know, it's competently made. I think it runs at a good pace. I think there's some interesting ideas in regards to the kind of the spooky effects and things like that. I think it's relatively well acted. So I don't think there's any kind of real massive negatives to this film, to be honest with you, other than the fact I feel there is a few kind of minor nitpicks. The biggest, I guess, I have to say, it is somewhat kind of formulaic. I don't think it kind of breaks any new ground in regards to this kind of thing. It is a kind of a typical kind of straight to sort of DVD horror movie that you kind of expect to sort of pick up, but you'd be kind of happy with it if you watched it. So really there's no kind of like any surprises here. If I had to have a couple other kind of minor nitpicks here, sometimes I feel the digital effects weren't particularly good. Sometimes the ghostly effects are quite effective, but there are a few occasions. There's one early on, for example, where we see a handprint appear on the kind of curtains, and it looks clearly kind of digital. So I didn't like that particular kind of scene. And there's a couple of other ones as well where we see some kind of digital effects which I feel were a little on the kind of the lower budget side. To be fair, it is a lower budget movie. And I also felt it would have been a little bit better to have this in an older house. This is a haunted house, and the house looks kind of relatively modern, and they're kind of doing this kind of restoration, and I didn't really know why you would do this kind of this restoration on this seemingly new house. My only other criticism really is that I feel sometimes the plot is just a little confusing. It's not so bad where you're completely lost, but I feel there are certain plot points that kind of don't quite make sense or aren't quite well explained quite enough. But getting back to the positives, I think this is like an enjoyable ghost story. If you are a fan of kind of like haunted house films, that sort of thing, then you'll probably like this one. I feel that you know, I don't think it's a classic, but I feel that it's an enjoyable ghost story that you'll probably watch, you'll enjoy. You probably won't watch it again, but you would have enjoyed it the first time that you watched it and be kind of relatively satisfied with it. Like I said, I don't think it's by any way a classic, but I feel it's a fairly sort of strong entry, and it's certainly, you know, a good first kind of feature directorial debut from actor Zack Ward. So I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. Pretty decent. I kind of enjoyed it, I have to say. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.